what have we got concepts back from making it?
I've seen two, but it's not like complete. It was just trials that he's sending to them.
So he's not sending them out.
He's just put them in one chat and that. Oh, the one that you're in as well. He's changed its purpose.
Sorry. Okay.
Do you like
Is it completely off the wall?
I think we need to just get it printed so we can see it.
We've ordered some paper that's coming today so we can print on the brown paper because we didn't have it brown.
How many of these have you got?
Quite a lot.
Can't you print on that?
No, we're not. We can't put anything in the printer that's not proper print.
Stick it to the sheet metal.
Then it doesn't, it just comes out.
Does it?
We tried it.
Bleed it?
Even in like, no, not bleed it, but then it's too thin. It's quite, and apparently if we dodgy around with the printer, then we're not sure.
Dodgy I'm sure it'll just be a paper jam, but alright.
Yeah, well, we've got the paper from today.
Is it?
Brown paper.
Yeah, it's just whether it behaves the same way. It's the substrate, it's different.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. We got the agenda.
Yeah, just some final updates. We'll come to that as we go. Okay, brilliant.
So, right. Hello everybody, welcome to year's NPD meeting. We have many meetings throughout the week, but on a Friday we have the main one where we catch up on what's happened that week and look forward to the week ahead. So without further ado, I'll introduce myself. I'm Luke, I'm NPD Director here at Years, and I'm joined now, fortunately, by the wonderful
Will Elson, hello, MPD Manager at Years. So we coordinate the kind of development of the new registries that are coming to you. This is...
Hello, I'm Beth, I'm a product developer. So yeah, along with the team, I'll just do everything new, basically. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions throughout the live, drop them down. We can tell you anything specific about like what we do as like team members, but also like anything like specific. Yeah.
So we're just going to crack on. We're going to go through the agenda that Will's just now put up on the board. As Beth just said, just send any questions through. We've got Ryan here, so Ryan's going to field any questions, so he'll throw them to us as they arrive. And obviously feel free to interrupt both Ryan. Right, let's crack on.
Right, so first on the agenda is the testing of the new core mill. So Beth whipped this up this week. This is a first for us, using a diced egg in the mill.
Yeah.
So Beth, do
you guys want to see it? Looks like this. I don't know whether.
as you can...
Oh!
That's what I wanted
It's
to
juicy.
The natural fats
Juicy, Rob.
have released themselves.
But
Right.
yes.
So
no,
what have you got in there then, Beth?
we kind of wanted to go down like the ham and egg route. So I put pork shoulder, which is similar to the pork meal. Well, no, it's the same pork that we use in a pork meal, with boiled eggs, and then veggies. We did pineapple. Obviously, that generally would come with a
Gammon and eggs.
Gammon and eggs meal. Yeah.
But not gammon.
No,
Pork
because it's too
shoulder.
salty.
Yeah.
Pork shoulder. And then I went with parsnip, sweet potato, and cauliflower. So yeah, that's kind of how we're looking. First instinct, it's very brown, which we try and stay away from. There's not too much colour on it, so I'd probably bring that up a bit.
What do you think about using gammon then? What's your thoughts? And obviously, if anybody's got an opinion, then please put a question in the comments.
Typically, it's too salty, but the colour would be nice. It would look different to what we already have. I don't think we've put gammon through our talk before.
No.
So it'd be a good one to test.
So if you get a low sodium, low salt,
Yeah.
what about the sulfates?
No. Not if it depends on the levels.
Yeah.
We'd have to put it in the calculator and see what kind of things we can source and how it would work if we big fan of pork meal in line with that. But yeah, I
Salmon
think,
and pineapple's a nice idea.
yeah, I think that, and especially because the pork meal is really popular,
Mm.
giving people the option and mixing the proteins up.
A couple of people on Instagram say that sounds really good. Randall says that sounds so good. Matt says having eggs, love it.
Yeah. I
And
think,
not for you, Randall.
I mean, obviously we don't have a meal yet with eggs, but the dogs kind of do tend to like eggs.
Oh, well,
If
yeah.
I can not
Brilliant.
eat, if I'm making scrambled egg, Rotters go crazy. So.
I've just had a question. Can dogs eat eggs then?
Yeah, they can.
What's the nutritional benefit?
eggshells as well.
Yeah, especially the membrane of the eggshell is really good for the dogs. And we've put eggs in our meals before, but just not like as a boiled product. So yeah, there was eggs in the pizza, in the topping and in the base, like the cheesy topping and the base. And then did we put eggs in, there was eggs in the lasagna pasta sheets as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, they're really good for the dogs. Obviously, everything in moderation.
Yeah, and as you said, the shell's great source of calcium, membrane for glucosamine and protein, and then the obviously the protein, much like for ourselves, it's a great source of protein, B vitamins, I think vitamin K, vitamin E.
Super healthy fats and yogurt especially.
Yeah.
Ali's asked, so I know to just talk about how far off the launch would something like this be if you were to go ahead with that?
So obviously we've just done one concept, so we would need to do a couple of more iterations to get closer to kind of the direction we would want to go in, and then yes, then it would go into nutritional, and we would have to look at the calculator, making sure everything's complete. Then we would have to look at the supply chain, how like the lead times, especially the meats, is the most difficult bit. But a couple of months.
It's worth bringing up a critical path, well, just to kind of show the kind of stages that we go through on a development cycle.
So we can kind of show through here like a typical one. So I do a kind of investigation of the product, see what the demand is, see what kind of area is important from that. That's very much coming from the kind of our consumers as well, our like customers. What they're screaming that they want is a big influencer at this stage. And then we kind of marry it up to this initial kind of costing and see how we can make that work for you guys. Moving on from that, we then start looking into raw material supplies and packagings. This would normally go through our existing supply chain where possible to speed things up, but sometimes if it's new, we have to kind of span that out and find alternatives. And then we've got the more technical side of things, that's checking our shelf life, that's checking our packaging is suitable, like transit trials, so sending it to a house, seeing the box getting beaten up a bit, is the product surviving?
Especially because with this it would be hard to, because of the eggs, because we haven't used the eggs like this before. Obviously the vegetables work similarly to other products that we already have, but and the meat also, but with the eggs it can
We want them to stay as
change
whole as
dramatically.
possible as well.
But throughout this process, we'll be working closely with the vets and the nutritionists. So from concept to this point that we are now with Beth, the next step will be to put that through nutritional calculation, and then consult with vets and nutritionists to see how best to optimise that concept. And then we will basically iterate and continue iterating throughout that period whilst we're looking at ingredients. We take the specifications from those and put them in, so we become more and more accurate as the process develops.
Absolutely, and that all goes through a sign-off process. As you can see, one of the key steps is the vet nutritionist. If it doesn't pass that point, if it doesn't pass, it goes back to redevelopment and we make the product work the right way. Nothing's going to go out the door with these kind of steps not being ticked off, because it's just not right. But yeah, no, brilliant. I love the first concept.
In terms of next steps, I think we'd be looking majorly to, do a little bit more research into the development of the meats sourcing, so we can see what's available and see how we can balance the meal for the dogs. Looking at the colour and things, to me it doesn't look too great right now. And we want it to be lovely like all the other meals. So playing around with what we use as toppers, bringing out the bright colours and things like that, and how we can kind of do that differently would be good. But yeah, we'll have a play this next week
Yeah.
and see how we can manage it.
Definitely. I think maybe some dehydrated pineapple along the top.
Yeah.
Something like that might suck up the kind of fats during
Yeah.
the cook.
Well, I did use dehydrated pineapple in this. I can't really see it too much, but I think maybe going in with maybe fresh pineapple would make a difference. Because when it's dehydrated, it's then going to suck in the juices from elsewhere. So then, if the meat juices, for example, are taken into the pineapple, it's going to change the colour of it. But yeah, if we kind of reduce that, we can maybe up the mushrooms so then they would absorb the liquid from other places. But yeah, we can play around and change that up.
Toby's just come through. Toby Sunbeam. How long does a meal take to test and finalise? Obviously, we've done 5 so far. It varies depending on.
Yeah, I'd say it really varies. Certainly, when we started, it took us over, I would say, touching 2 years, in fact, and that was to do the R&D on our concept. So, such as using the quinoa, the types of vegetables to use, how much of each to use, etc. So hence that took so long. And obviously working in conjunction with board certified nutritionists. So yeah, around 18 months. More recently, as we've become a little bit more knowledgeable about what works, what would you say, around the 6-month mark?
Well, in 6 months now, yeah. Realistically, we've got a set system in place. We've got a supply chain majority, 90% of it. Our vet nutritionists, we've got a close relationship to, who can respond within weeks, which is excellent. So yeah, 6 months is our kind of time frame at the moment we're looking at. Where we can accelerate that, we always will, but that is kind of typically where we stick with.
I think it's worth mentioning as well that we wouldn't compromise on the nutrition of our products in order to speed that process up. Obviously, we do try to work as quickly as we can, but if there becomes something that would mean we would launch a compromised product, we wouldn't progress with it. And sometimes that can be availability of quality raw materials as well. Because as you can imagine, we're no longer making 50 meals a day as it was when we first started. We need to make sure that we've got a consistent supply of those materials and that we'll be able to achieve the specs that we require every single time.
A couple of questions. So someone said, I love really how much thought and care goes into each new meal. I really didn't realise how much goes on behind the scenes. That's good to get it out. And then a question for you guys as well. Randall said, I know it's a few months away, but will you be doing a Christmas dinner chef special?
We have to all start it.
We are absolutely.
I think watch this space, Randall. You did say 6 months, so we've currently got 4, but certainly we are looking into it. Again, the Chef's Collection meals actually you mentioned. So previous question we referred to our core meals. Chef's Collection is a slightly different animal, and obviously within those I mentioned the 2 years to develop something that hadn't been done before. The Chef's Collection meals are each of them unique and new to us as well as you guys. So they require a huge amount of focus and attention from the whole team in order to be able to produce those. And because they are individual, they're incredibly complex for us to be able to do and make sure that their nutrition is complete. Yeah, I would say no more than that. Go watch this.
I think you also have to highlight with Chef's Collection meals, because they're limited edition and there's less of them, we don't need the continued supply chain so much with ingredients, which is where lengths are increased, and which is why we can turn them around in slightly less time. It completely just depends on ingredients and things like that.
Yeah, the development side.
Yeah, which is why we're always trying to develop new things, even when we don't have a plan to launch them right now, to have them in the
Right, yeah.
kind of way that we love to work.
Okay, right. Shall we? Ham and eggs So going to move to IPF, looking to gammon low sodium options. It'll be interesting to try buckwheat as well in it, just as an alternative kind of protein source. It's quite a good protein and switches up the meals a little bit. Yeah, maybe just perhaps we can blanch the cauliflower, so we can bump up the little colour on top. But yeah, something to have a look at. So moving on, we've got some cod supply chain becoming available now, more regularly. So we're looking at switching, potentially looking into it at this stage, moving from a pollock in our fish meal to a cod option, or perhaps expanding out, adding an extra fish option with cod in. Nutritionally, we put it through our calculators, it's still to go through to the nutritionist, but
So what difference does it make?
so it's one of the main points we got on pollock is like the fishy aroma is not well received by both fussy dogs and the owners, whereas cod has like a lower intensity of flavour, but nutritionally it's a bit better in omega-3s, it's a bit leaner.
Really?
Omega-3, yeah. Bit whiter, stays a bit more whole throughout the cook process, which means you get fuller pieces of meat and kind of eating experience, nicer texture, nicer palatability therefore. The only thing we need to look at is there are slightly higher levels of purine, which means we might have to balance that down a bit, so bring the salmon up a little bit to adjust for the amount of purine in. Our lysine levels are absolutely perfect. Calciums, irons, all the minerals are looking in spec with the adjustments. Selenium's lower than our typical range by, what is that, 0.25%. But again, that little adjustment in the salmon and the cod will bring that back up to the level we need it to be. Iodine equal, isn't it?